What's up, y'all? Staying here from Rocky Creek. Welcome back to the homestead. So today we're going to be working on something that I found, that I salvaged, and that we're going to try to put to use in our chickens. So let me show you what we're going to do here and what we're going to use this for. So guys, before I get too far into today's video, I'm going to apologize if our audio becomes a little bit off. I discovered last week's video with the goose that my lapel mic was starting to have some issues. I don't know if it's a connection issue or what. So I tested it again today and it's kind of in and out. So I think I may have a bad wire. So I'm having to use the internal audio from my camera. So it's a little bit breezy too, but I wanted to get this project done. I wanted to share it with you. So I apologize in advance if there's any audio issues, but I appreciate you overlooking that and sticking with us, and hopefully you still get to enjoy the video. So, but back to this little structure shelter type thing that's here. I got lucky in that a local animal shelter ended up having this as an old piece that they had for their facility, and they were throwing it out. And fortunately, since I know the people there, they contacted me and said, hey, could you use this for your chicken shelter, as they had put it out at the dumpster. And I thought, man, that would be great for our feed situation, to where I can put their feed under it, both for two reasons. Number one, helps keep the food dry, which leaves less waste when we have bad weather. And also it gives an overhead structure for protection while they're eating, to try to eliminate them or reduce the risk of them being attacked by a hawk or something while they're eating. Now, overall, it's in pretty decent shape, but it does have a little wiggle wobble, and it looks like a front row of shingles has come off of it, and there's some water damage on the front of this board. So what we're going to plan to do is, you saw me cutting earlier a couple bracing pieces. We're going to run 4 total braces to help stabilize it a little bit. It's not going to hold a lot, so I don't need it to be super strong, but I do want it to be able to last a little bit longer. We're going to run a drip edge on the front and a new row of shingles right on the very edge. And then I plan to eventually, once it gets a little bit warmer, is we will paint the wood on this to hopefully match our current chicken coop as well, and just kind of tie it all together. But for right now, we're going to focus on functionality. So I got the wood cut. Let's get that attached, and then I'll show you the drip edge that I got and the little shingle setup that we're going to try to run. Now, before we get too far in this, I'm going to go ahead and put the disclaimer out there, because some of you guys are probably like really good carpenters, maybe even contractors or construction. I am as far from that as you can get. I'm just Joe Schmo with some tools trying to rig something up. So please don't be hating on my construction abilities. Just know it's for some chickens to eat, not for my family to live in. All right, let's get this tacked up and let's show you what we're going to do with this thing. And to make matters a little worse today, is the battery to my cordless drill is dead, and I don't feel like waiting a couple hours to be able to get this done, because I want to get it in early while I can. So we broke out the old trusty electric drill. Great backup. I think this thing's been running since about 1970. So we're going to do a cross brace on each side like that, and then we're going to also come on the inside with a brace here, where we'll tack in from the side and in this way to the 4x4. I'll be real honest, I'm really amazed at how much more sturdy those two pieces on just this one side has made. So we do the same on this side, and I think we're gonna be good to go. I mean, it has, I don't know how much y'all can see, but it's got way less flex. So let's get this one done. All right, we got this one braced up. Now, the only thing I may do at some point in time, run a board horizontal running along right here at the base. and then do one more right across the top in between the 4x4 posts, just to give it a little more stability this way. But it's a whole lot better than what it was. So now what I want to do is underneath here in this center spot is I want to mount this board in the center here, right in here, so that I can run an eyelet in it and hang our feeder directly in the middle. All right, now that I got my board, I'm gonna drill a little hole so that I can screw this in. Now the easiest thing is once you get it started, take your screwdriver and use that to finish turning it. So there you go, got our board across the center. Did it relatively flat, doesn't have to be perfect. We'll hook a chain or something and then the feeder will hang right here in the center. So that's going to take care of all that part. Now we just need to cut this galvanized flashing or drip edge, if you will, and run it across the front, and then tack on another row of shingles. You can see they got these. The only reason why I want to run another set though is you might be able to see like there's a gap where the wood's exposed. So we're going to run another layer just across this front edge. Well, there it is. We got the little metal flashing on here, and I don't know much about shingles, and I don't really know how to finish them off the right way, but all I did was I had some of these left over from our original chicken coop, which ran a corrugated asphalt shingle, and these have like a washer and they're supposed to be self-sealing, and so I ended up just reutilizing some of these, and I just ran 2 rows, tacking it down up here at the top, thinking that the wind will come from the front and I shouldn't have hopefully too many issues with the backside. If I start to see it being an issue, then I'll just run a couple more further back, but I think that's going to do it. It's going to be, you know, just applicable for what we need, nothing fancy. And if it goes terrible, I do got extra shingles. These were some left over from a project at a buddy's house that he hooked me up with, so it's not the end of the world, I guess. Let's see if I can use the best moving device I have to get this thing down there on my own, the gorilla cart. It always amazes me how much weight this thing can hold without any issues. I mean, it's like not even flexing. So now let's see if we can get it from here all the way down there without it falling off. Well, we got it down here. Question is, will it fit through the gate? So we kind of have it near their water and kind of at an L with this coop. I think I'm gonna probably long-term put it here, but I want to get that kennel and stuff out of here eventually when I have some help to give me a hand with that. But for right now, I think this will be a good spot for this. And then I just took some extra fence picket pieces that I've had because it wasn't perfectly level. And so I have them doubled up here. And then I have only a single piece there to help make it a little more level, but also to give another barrier between ground contact from the existing wood here, and maybe get a little bit more life out of this when it's all said and done, because I can always just throw other scrap pieces of wood underneath and keep the framing wood good to go. So now I think let me go grab me a feeder. Let's hang it from here, and then we'll get the food here and let them start getting acclimated to it. We're very pleased with this new feed on a side note, and I'm only going to fill this thing up about 1/3 of the way right now just to kind of see how they do with it. And we're going to have their pain still there, and I'll explain that here in a second. So what I'm using to hang it is, it's kind of like it's not a ratchet strap, but it's like an adjustable strap with a little lock right there, and it has 2 carabiners on each end. Honestly, I don't remember what I got this from, but I had it in my shed for, I don't know, probably a year or two, and I've not used it for anything, and so I thought it would work out fine for here. It's under here, so it shouldn't get wet, but it gives me quick and easy adjustment. And as you can see, the birds are taking to it no problem. And like this one's even roosting up on the edge while it's eating. So I think this is going to work out good. All I'm going to do is I'm going to set their pans on either side. And a lot of that's one, because they're still used to that to some degree. Hopefully it'll still stay dry under here. But also I'm not sure how well the goose will be able to get food from in between those little slots. So I want to make sure the goose has access to feed without any issues too, until I see if it's actually getting food from this feeder itself. You set that one in there. Just put one on each side, if you will, and put it as close to the board as you can, so that way they're not stepping all over it. Yeah, just like that. And then just put the other one on the opposite side of that, unless we can fit them both on one side, side by side. So I've opted to put both of the pans on one side, and they can kind of just peek their head right over top and get some. And then we got this one in the center here, and I just did that so there's some room if they actually want to get in here. They're not stepping all in the pans, kind of like this one's doing right now. So I was trying to eliminate that, but I guess that didn't completely work. But I think this cover is going to work out pretty good. Hey, did you want to see if there was a goose egg?
Yeah.
You kept asking me, but I kept telling you you had to wait. Now, sometimes they're hard to see because sometimes she buries them in the pine shavings. I have to kind of dig my hand around a little bit sometimes. She usually lays them right over in this area. usually down underneath the nesting boxes, but watch out, you can step on it. Just kind of stick your hand down in there and move it around some. They don't poop over there very much, so you shouldn't have to worry about that. When we got down here, Madison said the goose came out of the coop, so she was thinking it might have laid an egg, and so she was wanting to find out. Do you need me to check? You like being super gentle for whatever reason.
Poop in it.
Well, no, poop ain't gonna hurt you. Build your immune system. I feel like these goose eggs are like an Easter egg hunt each day, and I'm always worried I'm gonna step on it, because once in a while I find it just sitting on top here, but most times she's covered it up for whatever reason. I don't know if they do that to hide their nest, but luckily all but one have been laid in this general area right underneath the nesting box. Looks like everybody's curious, including the goose. And it looks like the goose is able to get its beak in between those slots, so this may work out really, really well. So guys, this will be hopefully a huge help for us. Not only will it keep our food dry, which saves us money, but it also will hopefully provide an overhead structure to provide some safety from potential future hawk attacks. Many of you know we've really battled some hawk attacks, particularly last year, and trying to cover this entire area with a net not only was difficult, but it was extremely expensive. So fortunately, thus far, and I'm not saying that we're out of the woods yet, because anytime you're not completely covered in an enclosed run, your chickens are always at a risk of a hawk attack, but we're going to minimize it as much as we can. So between added overhead structures to be able to hide underneath, or also to be able to have some coverage while they're eating and they're not paying attention, is going to help. And then we got old guard goose over here, which helps. And then we got Bruce, our rooster, which helps. And then we also got our owl decoys. We got some reflective strips above that we're going to replace. So we're really adding some different layers of protection to our flock. And this was a huge blessing. In total, I have about $24 invested in this structure thus far. Of course, the structure itself was free. The pieces of lumber, I think, were like $5.88 a piece. So we'll just say $6 times 2 of those, which was 12. And then the piece of flashing was $12 and some change. So we're about 24, 25 bucks in for this structure right here. So I think that is a phenomenal deal. So we're gonna let this thing make sure it's doing good. And if I can get some extra paint here pretty soon, we'll try to paint it up to match the coop. And I think this is gonna be a great addition. So guys, we appreciate y'all hanging out today. I hope you found this interesting. I know not everybody will be able to find a structure like this, but maybe you at least learned a couple ways of some layers of protection against your hawk, or maybe this helps just to give you an idea if maybe you are a pretty good handy person and you can whip something up like this and maybe have materials on hand. But guys, we appreciate y'all hanging out. Hope everybody's doing good, and we'll see you here very soon on one of our next episodes. Thanks, guys.